Hi everyone, happy Monday. I hope your week has started well. If you're new to the channel, welcome along. You might have found it through the Instagram takeover that I did on Friday. If you've got no idea what I'm talking about, then my university allowed me to have their Instagram account for all of Friday. So I got to do a physics takeover, which basically meant I put posts up throughout the day about what I was doing, work things, some kind of fun sciencey things, it was my first proper long Insta story, I guess. It went pretty well. I enjoyed doing it. It was so much fun to see the interactions from everybody, to see the messages coming in. So I think the university have saved it actually as one of their kind of story highlight things. So I'll put a little box in now and kind of put an arrow maybe to where you need to click in case you want to go and see what I'm talking about and what that story was all about. But it's now week 5 on semester. This term seems to be going by quite quickly. It's still very much hybrid learning, so I'm still very much going to be working from home for most of this week, but I will be able to see the students again on Tuesday, and I'll have my virtual classes on Friday, so that's good fun. But quite big for our final year BSc students, so our students who are doing their bachelor course. This next couple of weeks is when they have to start choosing their final year projects. Now, I really like the final year projects because it's a chance to get to work with a student on a focused topic area and they get to explore something for the whole of that semester. But there are, I guess, a few challenges when you're the academic setting the projects, and I think there's a few things to think about if you're the student picking the projects. So, okay, from the academic side first, part of our job is that we set research projects for all sorts of different students at different stages in their educational journey. So I set bachelor's final year projects, I set integrated master's placement projects, I've set standalone master's summer dissertation projects, and I've set PhD projects. And they all have slightly different length scales, so they run for different lengths of time, and they all have slightly different requirements. But the key thing when I'm setting these projects is I want them to be fun and interesting, and they need to fulfil the educational requirements for that particular student. So they either need to be able to write a report or a dissertation or show that they've contributed to research in a novel way, and sometimes the projects are quite short. So I think from the student perspective, if you're doing a project for the whole of the second semester, that can feel like quite a long project. But from the lecturer's perspective, that project is actually only 12 weeks, and that's not a particularly long amount of time to actually make novel progress into a new area of study. So I think what quite a few of us do is we try to link our projects together. So I'll have either bachelor student projects that continue from one year to the next, or I'll have a bachelor's project that then links into a master's project that's happening over the summer. You do have to make sure that each student can get their own element of research out and it's kind of right for their bit of their course and their studies. But it's a good way of doing it, and it also gives you, as the academic, more chance of getting a journal paper. So one of the things that we need in academia is we need to be able to publish our research, and actually if you cleverly link a few student projects together, then you can get more chance of having a journal paper or a conference paper. So, as I said, I find it really fun. I've set some new bachelor's projects coming up. The students will be taking them after Christmas. So it depends if a student selects the project. But when students pick projects, again, I think that's a really important part of this whole process, because effectively, if you're a student about to pick a project, you're picking not only something that you want to research for a prolonged period of time, but you're picking an academic. Because you're going to be working with that academic member of staff, probably, a couple of hours, 1-2 hours a week, and you'll be having kind of contact with them all throughout maybe a semester or maybe a whole summer, or it could be an entire year if you're having a year-long project. So I think my kind of top tips when picking a project is make sure you like all the choices that you pick. So when I was a student and I was picking my final year project, I had to select 4 options. So my first choice, second choice, third choice, and fourth choice. And I got my 4th choice project. So yeah, I got the project that I'd selected as my last choice. And it was fine because I was really interested in that project, so that wasn't a problem. I remember feeling a bit awkward when I went to meet the academic for the first week of the project starting, because he knew I'd picked the project as the last choice and I knew it was my last choice project. But actually he was totally fine about it, and I think now that I'm an academic setting projects, I realise that actually, you know, we all have to have a fourth choice project. And as an academic, I really don't mind if students put my project down as their fourth choice, their third choice, their second choice, or their first choice, or actually not at all if it's not the right project for them. But if you're the student picking the project, make sure you'd be happy to study the fourth project because you might just get it. And I think the other thing to think about is to think about what kind of work you want to do. So in the sciences, we offer projects with experiments, we offer computational modelling projects, we offer literature review projects, and we offer ones that are kind of like a mixture of those three areas. So maybe have a think about what your strengths are or what particular area you want to kind of use your skills in. Also think a bit about the topic. So it tends to be that our research projects that we offer are connected or linked in some way to the academic's research interests. So if you want to do something in a specific area, it can be worthwhile having a look at the academics working in that kind of related field to see if you can find a project there. And sometimes there will be a project idea that you have, but it won't be listed as an option. And sometimes your university lets you go and talk to an academic member of staff and say, hey, I've got this project idea, would you supervise me? And if your project idea is close enough or related to that academic's research area of study, then sometimes that's a really good option. Also remember that sometimes projects are going to have an industrial partner, and that might require you to have maybe an interview or go to chat with the industry to see whether you like the look of their project and whether you're a good fit. So there's lots of these kind of factors to take into consideration. So basically, don't leave your project selection until the night before. Because really you need to go and talk to the academics, you need to research the project just a little bit to see if you like the look of that area, and you need to kind of get the vision that the academic has to make sure that it's on the same page as what you would like to do. And there's nothing wrong with going to see an academic for a chat and then going, actually, that project, whilst it sounded interesting, wasn't quite the project for me. Because that's a really good way of then kind of working out which projects you don't want to do, which can make it easier then to find the project that you do want to do. But if you're an academic now having to write projects for forthcoming student semester activities, I hope it's going well. If you're a student about to pick projects, I'd love to know in the comments section what you look for when you're selecting your project and your supervisor. It is really important that you get on with your supervisor because you'll be, as I said, chatting to them quite a bit over the duration of your project. But I hope your week is going well. If you're working or researching or studying, I hope things are going well at your university. It's such a strange semester. The students where I am are being brilliant. Everyone's following all the rules, staying as safe as we possibly can. So do look after yourselves for the next few days. As I said, I've got class on Tuesday, I've got a few activities that I'm up to on Wednesday, and then I'll be back on Thursday. So do hit like, do hit subscribe. This is very much a kind of uni academic YouTube channel. If you've got questions that you want to ask, do put them in the comments box because I've got my October lecturer Q&A video coming up, and I've got my October favourites video coming up. So I hope to see you for a couple of those videos. Have a good week, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye!